we had a wonderful time together, but it was never about us. From the beginning, it was poured out, poured out, poured out, and it never stopped. And you know what? I don't want it to stop. It's further on in my story, but in case I forget, I want to confess my faults. You know, I thought by living like that all those years that I was really dead in some areas. Probably a lot more dead than some of you are, but that's not the benchmark. Most of you know 3 grandchildren were given to me by a court in Kentucky on April 18. They're 13, 14, and 16. And they've been raised by drug addicts all their life. And so God gave them to me. And I thought because I had always lived with people most of the time that I was okay. But you know what I discovered? What I remembered, I always had a bedroom. I always had a bedroom I could go to. And I always had my own bathroom. I don't know what it is about my room. But that's where they just love to be, on my white down comforter. I took off the beautiful bedspread that somebody had handmade the quilt that somebody had handmade for me. It's put in the closet. And Isaac, my 13-year-old grandson, I'm always in a hurry. And I always wait to go to the bathroom until it's already past emergency. And so I learned, I'll go to my bathroom, the door is locked, there's a light on, and Isaac loves to read in the bathroom. And I hit that door and say, Isaac, there are 5 bathrooms in this house. What is it about mine? Well, he just loves it. And you know what? He's not moving. So if anybody's changing, guess who's getting to change? Habits, heart attitudes. You know, there are degrees of death. And I just confess to you, I am more dead than I was 3 months ago. You know, the court gave me, last April the 18th, gave me permanent custody. Now, I'd been involved in these kids' life from the time they were born, but there was always a time when they would go home. You know, they may stay a month, but they'd go home. And after they'd been there about a week, this 71-year-old body was longing for rest. And I remember walking in my bathroom one Saturday night, and it was like it was a ticker tape across the top of my mirror. Permanent custody, permanent custody, permanent custody. And I wanted to cry, and I think I did. Lord, they're not ever going to go home. This is home. I want to tell you, it took a little adjusting, because that meant that I didn't just have to give up my life that week and the next week. But if the Lord tarries, and if it doesn't kill me or I don't kill them and go to prison, you know, Isaac is just 13. I told him last week, I said, Isaac, I'll be 77 when I'm driving you to school. But you know what? God has given me grace for the day. If I look at it for 5 or 6 years, there's no grace. If I look at it any way except grace for today, then I have it. And I'm learning. My grandson, who's 26, said this week, he said, Grandma, you're so easy on them. And he's talking about cleanliness of the rooms or whatever. I said, Zeb, I am not going to live in strife. I save my forcefulness for things that have eternal value. when they're breaking the commandments of God, when they're breaking the law of love, when they lie, when they, I save my energy for the things that have eternal value. I am not going to follow them around all day saying, pick up, do this, do that. And you know what? The more I turn it loose, the better they get at doing what seems natural. I don't know what seems natural, you know. God has me walking. I've said many, many days, I'm way over my head. In every area of my life, I am way over my head. It's not ankle deep. It's not knee deep. This place he has me walking is way over my head. And if he does not come through every day and give me wisdom and give me strength, then I'm not going to make it. But back to the part of the story that I don't know why he wanted me to share in this way tonight. But I was the youngest of 7 siblings. One brother died of cancer when he was 43. And then my father died of cancer in 1980. And then the Lord took Milton in 87. The next year, another brother died of cancer. A year and a half after that, my only other brother died of cancer. 87, my sister died of cancer. And about 90, my next to the last sister died of cancer. And I have a nephew who came to live with me about 6 or 7 years ago, who is much like a son. He had been an alcoholic for all of his life and hadn't had a life. And he came here, and he's just so lovable. Everybody loves him. And just really, for the first time, has a life, has a job, and feels pleased with himself. He's 53. He's never married. And guess what? He's been diagnosed with cancer. They haven't identified it yet, and they haven't prescribed treatment. And I just think, I was thinking, this week I've thought a lot. I know people who've never had one person they love die. And here, I've lost count of how many that it is. But right in the midst of it, I have seen God's faithfulness so much, because he, in every instance, has given those people I love opportunity, if they didn't know him, to repent and to come to him when they die. And 3 years ago on November 7th, I was operated on for cancer. And have any of you not heard that story? Have any of you? Well, when I was saved, I was healed. Before I was saved, I was in the hospital every 6 months with something quirky. I was just always sick. You know how it goes. Kidney infections, sinus infection. They were all sin infections. I wish somebody had told me, and I had heard that the wages of sin was death. But that's the way everybody I knew lived, just sick, sick, sick. And then I was saved, and nobody taught me about healing. The healer just came. And so for 30 years, I didn't go to the doctor. And I didn't need one. But in that kind of walk, without even knowing it, you can become prideful. I didn't have much compassion for people when they were sick, because I had forgotten what it was like to be sick. But I got this lump in my breast, and so I just thought, well, that's the Lord's problem, not mine. So I ignored it, and I ignored it for a year, 2 or 3 months, and then it started growing, and it became just real purple and hot and pulsating.